Hello, welcome to Marathon Swim Stories, where we connect with curious and courageous individuals from all walks of life to explore our relationship with water, what holds people back, and why others keep going, where we investigate the connection that we have with each other, those who support us, and the water that is 70% of our planet. If you've ever stood at the edge of a body of water and wondered, you're in good company. I'm Shannon Keegan, mom, wife, marathon swimmer, swim efficiency coach, and founder of Intrepid Water, where I teach swim freedom, virtually, locally, and abroad. The freedom to get started, break out of your comfort zone, or shatter your preconceived notions of what's possible. Find out more at intrepidwater.com. Phew, it's been too long. I miss you guys. It's been a full few months. There's a lot going on in my world. I'm really excited. I'm hopeful that you'll be part of it. But I'm really excited to be back at the mic, and I've got several shows in the hopper. So stay tuned. Just got back from coaching a 3-day swim mastery clinic in Boston with my coach and mentor, the founder of Swim Mastery, Tracy Bauman. It was a remarkable experience watching these 20 plus swimmers transform their freestyle and find ease and efficiency in just 3 days. I was just astounded at the progress that was made, and even better, just knowing that these individuals were walking away with these tools in the toolbox about how they could really make change that sticks and become better swimmers. Because isn't that what we all want? To become better swimmers. And if you would like to become a better swimmer, I invite you to join my Swim Better community. Because whether you want to swim faster or easier, or if you're injured and you're trying to recover and get better, from my perspective, that means that you need to assess what you're doing now and what you're not doing and figure out what's working for you and what's not and find a path forward. And that's exactly what we do in this community. We support and encourage each other in that change, because change is hard and it's easier when you do it with other people. So I'd love to see you in the Swim Better community. You can find a link in the show notes. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to my subscribers. Did you know that you can subscribe to Marathon Swim Stories and make any donation at all, even $1 would be helpful to keep the stories coming to you? I would really love it. If you wanted to subscribe, you can find a link in the show notes. And send me a message. Let me know what you want to hear more of. But without further ado, I'm really looking forward to sharing today's conversation with you with the founder of the Swim Beyond the Breakers Open Water Summit, Craig Lewin. You may have heard his marathon swim story way back when, but today we spent all our time talking about why he founded the conference, who's going to be speaking there, and how you can get in on it. Enjoy. All right. I'm very excited to be here today with Craig Lewin, who maybe you've heard his marathon swim story. It was recorded back, I think it was like season 1. I was looking back and I think it was season 1 or 2. It's quite a long time ago. So we're going to get some updates today because I'm personally am thrilled that Craig's hosting an open water summit. So Craig, tell us what you've been up to the last few years and what you got going on.
A little bit of swimming, hard to get away from it once you do it. But yeah, I mean, this year, like you said, I really felt like I wanted to try to make an impact and help people out. And that's why, like you mentioned, I started or trying to start Beyond the Breakers. So it's an open water swim conference. Now it's very different. But when I first started open water swimming, like back in 2004, I read Lynn Cox's book and I just kind of had to figure it out. And people were doing this stuff, but not really doing it, where there's social media and you can just reach out to people. So, and the more I get involved and the more emails I get from people of like, hey, like I want to do this, it's really fascinating that there's so many resources, but no one knows where to find them. And that was like one of the big impetuses of doing this was like, there's a lot of info out there, some good, some really bad. And I wanted to pull together like the very reputable people that I trusted that have done very good things for the open water community and try to give people that place to like, here's 28 people who know what they're talking about in all different facets of open water swimming and at least give them a starting point. So that was really the goal, was just connect people so they have a face when they're like, oh, I need a marathon swim coach, or I just want to get in the open water and I don't know where to start. I'm petrified, or I'm scared of sharks. So just bringing professionals together to, just have some fun, talk about all these different topics, and hopefully start creating more of a community. Not that there isn't a big one, but more connected community. I think virtually we're all connected, but a little bit of that live in-person presence does go a long way.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm so glad that you're taking that on. Thank you. I thought of it myself. So anyway, it's just great that it's happening, because there is a lot of information out there. And I think swimming is just so fascinating, right? Just like how I could go off on the tangent, but we won't do it. But I just love the idea of the purity of and the name, like Beyond the Breakers. Like we're really just trying to get people in open water, right? And giving them resources. And I just love what you're saying about bringing experts together. So it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited that I get to attend.
We're glad you're speaking. I think lots of experience from you between swim mastery and obviously all the swims you've done, the swim you just did as well. I mean, 29 plus hours and in water of any kind is not easy. So, I think you bring a lot to the table. I'm really excited to have you sharing your experiences and helping people feel comfortable in the open water.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like I came from a place of a lot of fear. So it's been an interesting journey, and I'm excited to share some of that story. Do you want to highlight maybe just a few of some of the other speakers that are coming?
So, I mean, we have a huge list of speakers. Don't want to be an infomercial. I'm excited about everyone. One speaker is coming that I've seen speak multiple times, and he's not a swimmer. He's actually a shark expert. His name's Dr. Greg Scommel. He works for the Mass Fisheries, but he's been on National Geographic, like all these different stations, and all he does is study shark behaviors. So he's actually going to come and talk about white shark behaviors, because that's what we have in New England. And I think it's one people are all petrified of. So like his presentations are phenomenal. I've seen him at scuba shows that me and my wife go to. So like when I called and I was like, hey, do you want to do this? It's kind of like fanboying a little bit, because he presents it so well. And the reason I wanted him is like, I think the biggest thing with like fear, whenever we talk about fear, the best way to get over it is to educate yourself on that fear. And I think when you understand those things more, you are less afraid. So that's why I really want him to come, was like help people understand like, what are shark behaviors? Like, what do you actually have to be concerned about? I'm very excited. I'm excited for. I've also seen it a few times and it's very good. So I would hope most people are excited about it. We have Dan Daly coming. He is a strength and training professional who is also, he's an All-American swimmer. When he was swimming, he does a lot in open water. And I think he's starting to get more into marathon swimming. So really excited to have him. We're doing a special chat next week with Andy Donaldson, who's I guess he was former fastest Ocean 7 before I think Peter came and crushed his record, but he'll be giving a conversation, and I think he holds a few world records. So we're excited for that. And then I think more of like a local legend. I think she's more of a behind the scenes person, but Elaine Howley. So I don't know. I think a lot of people in open water know her name, but maybe outside of it don't. But she's phenomenal swimmer, phenomenal crew. This is not a solo sport. When you start getting into the longer distances, it's more about crew than it is swimming. I think there's like a saying, or at least I've been saying it, is when you are successful in a swim, it's because you trained your crew properly. And when you fail, it's because you didn't train your crew properly. It's not your crew's fault. It always comes down to like either the swimmer's the failure or the crew makes you successful. So she, I think, swam for, it was like Caroline Block's, one of her big double. And then she was on Sarah Thomas's English Channel 4-way. But she's done so much crewing, and she's done some great things for New England open water swimming. She was doing Boston Light Swim for a while, running that. And she heads up our local organization, Massachusetts Open Water Swimming Association. So really, really great speakers in all different areas. I selfishly have a friend coming in from California. He's like Baywatch for like 20 years. So he'll be doing a lot on reading conditions and knowing how to get in and out of water safely. how to spot rips, how to get out of them, which some of us know, but if you're new to open water swimming, which this is geared towards everyone, that's a foreign concept. Like, oh, I didn't know I had to worry about undertows or rip currents, or you hear about people drowning in them all the time. So then you're scared to get in. So it's more about that understanding and what to look for and how to be safe. So yeah, I mean, I could go on for an hour about everyone we have coming, but I won't. I'll stop. I'll stop there.
Yeah, it's exciting. And I guess just kind of reiterating that like this is just about getting people to the open water. So it's like it could be triathletes and we all know triathletes, they don't necessarily embrace the swim initially. Although I've met a lot of marathon swimmers who were born from triathlon.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm seeing a lot more of is I'm seeing like when I get emails for coaching, it's a lot of people who've done Ironman looking for the next challenge and like, oh, I kind of like swimming. So I'm just going to do this. And yeah, no, some are great, some are not, but at least they're thinking outside of what they're used to, the swim, bike, run, and starting to embrace the swim. So more and more, you're seeing. I mean, even just open water swimming in general. Like, was a time when English Channel was 2 years out. Now it's 3 years. It's only a matter of time. 6 years out. I think you're seeing more and more people doing the North Channel, and you're just seeing these crazy swims like the one you just did the other day, or you're just seeing people attempting huge swims like nonstop. Whereas I think 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it was like the main swims and no one else. So you see this kind of reminds me of triathlon in like the early 2000s, where every single year participation was doubling. I finally feel like we're seeing that in open water swimming. So it's felt like the perfect time to try to connect people and at least give them real information versus what someone says on social media that may or may not be 100% false.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I had a great conversation. I think the last marathon swim story that was released was with Simon Griffiths, who runs Outdoor Swimmer magazine, and we were talking about just the safety considerations. And so it's like people to go out in the open water, but we need them to be safe. And so having a forum where we can bring people together to talk about how to be safe in the open water. I mean, whether it's I don't know, you can start with is the water safe? Then there's like quality, and there's so many places that we can go. But it's such this huge part. Well, obviously, 70% of our Earth, it's so important. And the more people we have swimming, which we want more people out there, I think. Selfishly, I want more people out there swimming so we have more swimmable water. But we have to keep people safe. So we need a forum where we're bringing people together to bring experts together to help inform people of those little itty bitty things, whether it's you're walking into an ocean or you're walking into a lake or a river.
The more numbers we have, the more policy changes and things get done in terms of climate change and cleaning up oceans. So we actually, Surf Rider is going to be coming and giving a conversation about how we can be more active, not so much from a policy standpoint, but just like more active citizens with regard to ocean conservation. Like, how do we leave the ocean better than when we went in? So just simple things we can do, just at like I'm going to the beach and cleaning up level, to emailing, calling the right people and getting real change done, because I think we all see it. Like, things in the ocean are definitely changing at an accelerated rate. Where we're in it all the time, you notice these things. And for me, it's important to try to find a way to do something that makes me feel good and does leave things in a better place, so we do have these swims in 5, 10, 15, 100 years.
How common do you think shoulder injury is in masters and college swimmers? It's a jaw-dropping statistic that you'll learn in the new Minimizing Risk of Shoulder Injury in Freestyle Swimmers course from Swim Mastery. This 60-minute online course is packed with useful information about why shoulder injury is so common in swimming, as well as practical tips to put into practice right away. Go to swimmastery.online and navigate to the shop in the resources menu, or email me, shannon@intrepidwater.com, and I'll send you a direct link so that you can start swimming pain-free today. Any other stories or anything from the open water you want to share, what stuff you've been up to before we kind of open it up to Q&A?
Sure. Well, I don't know. I guess from a swimming perspective, just kind of enjoying it. Yesterday, it's been fun. I've been doing more crewing lately. So I don't want to say I'm not swimming. I'm still swimming, but I think the open water has ruined me, where I know the importance of the pool, but the thought of going to a pool is just like, I open water swim in the winter, because I just don't want to go to the pool. I would rather drive 45 minutes to the ocean than get in the pool for, 10 minutes down the road. So I've been doing more crewing lately. One of my athletes did a local swim. It was Nantasket to Nahant, which is it's not a huge swim, but it's a stepping stone for him for sure because he's training for English Channel in a few years. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think transitioning from swimmer to crew, it's really fun because I get to think about what did my crew do that always upset me when I'm tired. What did they say that like just set me off? And I'm sure you maybe went through it. Like when someone asks you, you're 8, 9 hours into a swim, how are you feeling? It's like, well, how do you think I'm feeling? Like, don't ask me that. Or they tell you, oh, you're halfway. It's like, I don't want to know that. Terrible day, and I'm only halfway. So it's fun to get to take those experiences as a swimmer and start trying to apply them as a crew chief or support crew and, really just helping people like achieve their dreams. I think for me, and I'm sure you're going through it now, as you've done so many swims, it's a very transformative journey. Like if you think back to big swim days to where you are now, you're probably not just a different swimmer, but like probably a very different person because of those experiences. So it's really fun. Like I love the transformation and the journey for me. So to be able to do that and help others, and like when they finish and see that happiness in them, like it makes me feel really good and excited. So yeah, so just doing a lot more crewing, more kayaking, which I don't love, but it's not my favorite. I'd rather be in there swimming, but the crewing on a nice boat on a beautiful day is not a horrible morning before work. So yeah, just transitioning to that, a lot of coaching. Had several athletes do English Channel this year, Catalina, some smaller swims. We had a swimmer do, I think she was the first documented double El Cruce, which was kind of fun to be part of like the logistics of planning a first. Never really gotten the chance to do that. So just the open water swimming world is so big, and it's not, even if you're not like huge on swimming distance, there's so many other ways to be involved and be part of journeys and that like do change people, but it's like a bond you're always going to have. Like I know with my support crew from other swims, like the year mark comes, the date comes, it was 7 or 6 to 7 years ago since Catalina, and they're like, oh, happy channelversary. And when you have conversations, you think back to all the crazy things that happened in like a 12-hour period, but it's like this lifelong bond. So I am still trying to stay in shape, still swimming a bit because I got to support swim here and there. But really, the transition of coaching and crewing has been one that I've really enjoyed and I'm trying to embrace and push further and further. But like also those experiences are a big piece of the conference. It's like I love the journey. I love still being a part of it, even though I don't necessarily have the time to train for some crazy 40-hour swim that I ultimately probably don't want to do either. That's a different breed. You're making different stuff than me.
Well, yeah, I hear you. It's curiosity, and that's all I can chalk it up to. But I just have to say this because I saw Heidi smiling on there when you were talking about not wanting to go to the pool, because I remember very much her telling me how much, because she just loves the open water. Maybe I should have you tell us the story, Heidi. And like she hated going to the pool, and is like, come on, Heidi, we got to go to the pool. This is where it's the laboratory. That's what I call it for my swimmers. And it's really amazing to watch my swimmers actually really embrace the pool. Just this mastery approach is a much different way of looking at swimming, because if you're just going through the grind of making up a set and trying to figure out what to do and how many yards you can get in, it really isn't fun. But we have a really fun approach with swim mastery that I think keeps the pool interesting. Everything we learn in the pool applies in the open water and makes our open water experience better. So just had to put that plug in there. Sorry.
No, it's like as a coach, like I know the importance of the pool. Like when you run a marathon, you go to the track. It's a controlled environment. There's a purpose. It's a tool. It's a tool like anything else. I think, obviously you're probably in an area that gets cold during the winter. You're going to get 10 minutes to an hour in the water we get in the winter. So you have no choice but to go to the pool. So you stretch the season as long as you can before you have to get in it. But yeah, I have the same conversation. Someone's like, I don't want to go to the pool. I'm like, well, that's too bad because you're going. I think your approach with swim mastery might be a little different than mine, but the importance of the pool, there's no question. it needs to be part of every program. It's where, like you said, it's a laboratory. That's where technique gets fixed. That's where everything important does happen to make the open water swim successful.
Anything you want to add before we open up to Q&A?
I will say, shameless plug, I feel like this whole thing. So I know people, it's a tough time of year. So I wasn't originally going to do this, but because there's been a lot of interest, I am opening up virtual tickets for the conference because I know a lot of people cannot make it or don't want to go across the country. And I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to go to beautiful Boston in November. But so those actually went live today. Basically, you get access to the recordings for a year, basically until after the next one. So it is not, I just want to be clear, it's not a live stream. That is a shockingly large sum of money to do. So recording the sessions, they'll be available after the conference, but you can purchase those now and you'll get access to all the sessions. And then people who do weekend passes also will get access because if you're there, you can only go really to half of them. And you do want to see all of them. So that's included in the full weekend packages is complimentary access to that. So I was kind of holding off, but I'm very excited about it. And because the interest in the conference has been a lot of excitement, the biggest barrier is getting to Boston. So I did want to open it up to the community at large. That is the purpose of it. So that is now live on our website, swimbeyondthebreakers.com. So shameless plug over. Definitely, I like talking to you about swimming because we have very different approaches. I'm very much a gritty, higher volume type coach. And I think you are probably, I don't want to say gritty. You're definitely gritty, but not the high volume type coach. So I love having the conversations of that. So I think the swimmers have, the athletes, people on the call have questions. I think it'll lead to some fun conversation.
Yeah, I had to break it to Craig the other day that I've never had a 50K week in all of since 2009 when I started. Never done a 50K week.
But that's not true because you literally had a 50 day a few days ago. So
yeah, but I save it all up. That was Stacy can tell you. He was on my crew.
But so you have had them.
I do it all on the day of the swim. Anybody want to come off mute with any questions for Craig about the conference, or we'll just open it up today? We got you here.
Not so much I have a question, but I'm really looking forward to it. And I appreciate that. First of all, I appreciate the access to the videos because there's a lot of crossover. There's so much happening in the conference that when I looked at the schedule, I thought, how am I going to pick and choose? Because there's some amazing stuff happening at the same time. So I'm really glad that we'll actually get access to all of it because that's really great. And it opens it up to so many people that, wouldn't be able to travel, or that just opens up that community access to information, which I think is really important. But I'm especially happy that there's some crewing stuff in there because I'm going to do my first solo for someone next year. And I can talk to friends and I can get information, but it's probably really unique to get that information in a forum where people get to sort of, talk about individual experiences as opposed to just you talking individually to people. And I think that's going to be kind of neat to do. So I'm looking forward to it. I bought my ticket because I'm like, well, it's not virtual. I have to make my way there. I'm looking forward to being there in person. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there's some great people, and not only is it, I think the speakers are great, but I'm hoping the people that are also attending are going to have their own experiences. And I do hope it leads to a lot of conversations and discussions in between sessions at lunch where we all have our own perspectives. And the nice thing about people like Elaine and Summer and some of these crew specialists is they have their experience over lots of different people. So they've seen things have gone right, where things have gone wrong. But, just like with coaches and with swimmers, I think it's the more people you talk to, you start developing your own kind of, here's where everything could go wrong, but now I have to develop my own style as a crew chief. And also, I think a huge thing that doesn't necessarily get covered a lot is understanding the psyche of the person you're crewing for. Because a lot of your job is when things are, not going well, how do you as the crew chief or crew get them through it? Some people love positive reinforcement. Some people want to hear all the text messages of the people at home. I don't like that. I want to hear what a failure I'll be or how awful I am. I feed on the negativity. So if a crew chief is telling me, oh, so-and-so said this, I'm going to get so angry. So really understanding the swimmer, I think, is you take everything that you've learned from the people at the conference and your own experiences, and then you apply that to the actual swimmer to make it a much more personal experience and really help them get through. So really excited you'll be coming, get to meet you in person. And yeah, I really hope that you'll enjoy everything we're putting together for you.
I'm sure it looks like a great event.
It's a good point you make, Nadine, about just well, I think that commonly that's how we've done it for the years. It's like the one-on-one.
I want to thank you personally for opening it up to being able to get that information and participate and be a part of it virtually, because I'm not able to travel this year. It's on my radar now, and it's super exciting that you're putting this on.
Thank you. I'm glad you'll benefit from it, and hopefully it goes well and we can have a year 2 and we'll see you in year 2 in person.
Anybody else have any questions for Craig?
Hi, Craig. I'm just now starting to actually talk to people about the fact that I like to swim in the open water, and I have been swimming in the open water for a long time. But most people think I'm crazy, or they're sitting there drinking on the shore and I'm swimming a few miles, and which is fine. I don't really care. How would you suggest for someone like me that's old, 62, out of shape, and is used to swimming by myself, kind of figure out what's going on down there? And I'm not a triathlete. I personally find them annoying.
There's a place for everyone. I think so in your area, there's the Seacoast Open Water Swim Group in Maine. Bob Fernald runs it. So more locally, if you're looking for people to swim with, there is that. And now I don't know. I know Maine's pretty big. It could be 3 hours away for all I know, but there is that. But I would say we do have people coming who in from a few different organizations. Like we have a few race directors coming who put on their own races in the Massachusetts area. But I mean, really, the big ones are going to be like your Boston Light. I think for someone who just likes swimming, but they have other one-offs. If you like solo swims, I think if you like the solo swim scene, I think the resources at Mass Open Water Swimming Association are going to be really, really helpful. But even within your own waters, I mean, I think reaching out to the Seacoast Open Water Swim Group and Bob, it's a great starting point.
I didn't know anything about them.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point of the conference, right? Connect people in the New England area with resources they didn't even know about.
I'm not against swimming with other people. That's not what I mean. It's just that because I'm swimming alone, I swim alone. That's it. But I'm interested in that, and thank you for that information just in itself. I'm really hoping to Peaks to Portland next year, which by your standards is not deal. It's 2.5 miles in from Peaks Island into Portland, and it's a fun swim. It can be really crazy. They canceled one of our favorite swims, which is the Nubble, and that's a crazy swim because there's a gut that you have to swim through. But it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great goal. I mean, look, it's all relative, right? The distance is relative. It doesn't matter how short or long you go. The fact is you're getting out there, you're doing something that makes you feel good. And that's all that really matters. I don't think it's, you need a wetsuit, you need a buoy because hip issues, it doesn't matter. As long as you're out there enjoying, that's the goal. It's you have an activity you like doing and makes you feel good.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe just to sum it up, I think it's a beautiful way of being in nature, right? So some people like to hike and some people like to bike, and we like to go out on the water, and there's a lot of water everywhere, and we need resources to help make sure that we can stay safe and learn how to safely jump out into those big, vast, wide open waters, whether they're rivers or lakes or oceans. So well, thank you guys for coming, and thank you, Craig, for your time. And until next time, I guess I'll see you in November, Craig.
Yes, see you in November. Thank you so much. This was fun. It's nice to meet all of you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you were inspired by even just a moment of this story, please share it with a friend. You never know what might push someone out of their comfort zone so that they can find out what they're capable of. And please leave a review with your podcast provider. It truly helps others discover the raw and honest stories of these amazing endurance swimmers. Thanks for listening.